Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, and a good welcome to our webinar, the last one for October 2025, not the last one for the year, still many to come, and very happy to see already we have a nice group of people in the room. I say welcome from the Southern Hemisphere, but it seems to me everyone is in the Northern Hemisphere. So while we are moving here into spring and summer is peaking around the corner, actually it's kind of here already, you're moving into the cooler weather, which is my favorite, each to their own. So we have Alberto from Mexico, Rito Oswald from Switzerland, Annie is from New York City, Nicholas from also New York City, and then we have Mattia from Italy, India, East Surrey, UK. Oh, rainy, cool afternoon. My favorite, but I guess if it's all the time like that, right? You never know. Klaus from Copenhagen in Denmark, and then Ashfaq, good evening to you as well. Oliver over there in Bavaria, Germany. We have more Ashatush there in India, and then we have people from France, more UK. Best wishes. Thank you. Same to you. Shadan, good to see you, right? I'm good. I hope you are doing well too. And we have David from Paris. Dietra, there we have again our US people from Indiana. Latvia, Max, very welcome. And so far, I'm seeing Archie from Chicago, Peter from Denmark, and the list goes on. Peter from Florida. And yes, it seems I'm the only one here from the Southern Hemisphere at the moment. But anyway, we are all friends, right? Because we are here for Brizy. Let's get quickly into it. And I post the banner there at the bottom because, yes, it is being recorded. You will get a link afterwards, but it will also be posted on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube at some point, and you can rewatch it to your heart's content. And tonight we are talking about the builder. Now, for you old timers, I'm not really going to show you anything new, so it's just great that you have set aside this hour to spend with me. I really appreciate that. And well, we go through things that we know, and I'm going to talk about a little bit here and there. I'm going to show you actually a new feature from the beginning, and there is a few more things that we'll talk about, so I'll mix it up a little bit. So yes, everything is recorded. Let me just go over here. If you have any technical questions and you need any help, remember you can always reach out to our support team at support@brizy.io, one of the best support teams out there, right? Like my good friend Gavin always used to say, if I cannot help you, I'll tell you who can help you, right, at a minimum. So for tonight, we are looking at the editor, and this is for Brizy Cloud and it is for Brizy WordPress. And if you have used both of these platforms, you are quite familiar with the fact that the builder essentially is the same. The CMS, the platform in which you are creating it, whether it is WordPress or whether it is Cloud, those are the differences. For my convenience, I'm using Brizy Cloud tonight because it's very easy to set up a site and work with it. But I'm just this week was working on a photography website for someone within WordPress. Still my favorite. You know, there is this very warm feeling I get when working with WordPress. And then, of course, the frustration when you sometimes get to points with WordPress like, anyway, good. And we are welcoming also more people from, we have Rach. Is it Rach from Melbourne over there in Australia, right? And then Rocky from Toronto. Go, go, go. Everyone, very welcome. And if I missed you, sorry about that. We are very happy to have you here. We have a nice group of people here, and let's dive into it. So I'm just going to do this and quickly actually jump right into something I want to show you. And this is nothing spectacular, but this will lead into our discussion tonight about the editor. What you see in front of you, if you're familiar with Brizy, is, of course, the carousel. But what I want to show you are these two arrows at the bottom. What is going on here? Because if you haven't been paying attention, which we haven't really promoted it since last week, there are a couple of things that have changed with it, and we'll be releasing how-to videos for that shortly. But to show you a little bit in a bootcamp session with the editor, I just want to focus on this new feature. So to do that, here is the section I've created. And if you've never seen this, we'll go through it a little bit more in detail very soon, but I'm going to do this very quick crash course. First, you add a new block, and this is what we refer to as sections. You know that in website building, very familiar. It gives you the section. And then I'm going to look for an element to build this out with, and I just type in carousel. I used to be very big on always looking for it, dragging and dropping, but I've got to the point where I just type in what I want. I know which elements are there, and it just comes in much easier. Now this is how it looks, and that's what I ended up with, and I'm going to show you can make it look even much better than that. So the first thing, as you understand how it works with a carousel element, any changes you want to make to an element, you simply click on it, and if you want to make changes to the section, you go to the options here in the top right-hand corner. More on that later. For this section, let's quickly just switch out a photo here, and I'll just bring in one from my library over here, and I'll change out the text here, and I'll just say this is for engagements. And it's kind of what I was doing for this photography website, for the photographer to promote her services and what she does. And I'm not going to make a big thing out of this. We can change the button. I like clean buttons like this, so we just go ahead and quickly also change the color for that. And then I'll align it to the left. And one of the things when we are working with no borders, I'll go to the size and I'll drag these two sliders width and height all the way, so I have more control over that, and type in here something like view portfolio. And then always the advice when you work with a carousel, you go ahead and you duplicate these guys to the style that you have, and then you just simply go to the ones that you're not going to use anymore and you delete them. So we do that, and I'm making this look easy, right? And if you've been playing around with Brizy, this is also second nature to you, but it's something that once you get into it, it becomes a lot of fun. So what happened to my navigation? My arrows are gone, my dots are gone, because there isn't anything beyond these three, and I only have 3 columns, so I'll duplicate it one more time, and you see my dots are back. It shows me there are 4 cards here, and the arrows give me this navigation. Now this is what we had in the past, and this is what we were constrained with, and it worked pretty okay, but let's jazz it up. Now what you do, you go to the element, and it gets you this contextual toolbar all the way to the left. And here you have the carousel. You can put it on autoplay like I did with the one that I showed you. And then you have arrows over here. And there's a few new things that you will notice here. The first one I want to show you is the arrows. You just go to the arrows you want to select, heavy, and you can see the arrow change over here. But wait, did you notice it says custom at the top? Yes, Cyril. You can go custom now. And I am a person all about custom. If I can change a font, if I can change an icon to something that I think no one else is using it, I'll spend my time on that. Yes, I know, wasting time, but that's what I like to do. And custom fonts, this is a custom SVG that you're going to bring in here. And there are many websites online that you can get free SVGs. I'm going to use this example of one that I used, the Noun project, and I'll show you in real time how I do this. So I have this arrow, but let's choose an arrow that we definitely know isn't there. And I think this one over here as an example. Let me just make sure. Okay. And you choose the arrow that points to the right. So I found out you have to choose the one to the right. So just search for arrow right, and it's going to give you whichever site you're using. And I download SVG. Right, download noun arrow. We got that. And I'll pop back here. I'll click on custom. And then I pop over here to custom. And this is the one that I brought in earlier. I'll say upload icon. And I think this is the one I just did. Let's see. Yes, select it. And look at those arrows changing their custom icons in the back. Whoopee. And this can also be done with the dot navigation. So if you go to the dots, you will see we also have custom there. I really, really like this. Now go back to arrows and then look at the other new features. You have style. Previously, you had the option here to show it or you don't want to show it. But now, by going from this one here, which is on both sides, you have more control over the placement. And it's going to group it, once I do that, like it did up here. And you will see the new option here opens for position. And you have all the positions. Top left, if you want it top right on that side. Let's keep the middle left. And there is a lot of use cases that this actually work. And I put mine on the bottom middle. And what I did in that case is I went to circle and I said none. So I did that. And now we are faced with this situation that these arrows are actually overlapping my carousel. And for that, go to your settings and you will see your padding. And this is where you bring in the bottom padding like so. Very nicely. And I'm also going to reduce the padding on the left and the right. Don't need all of that space in my carousel. Just drag it loosely like that. And then I can go ahead and style out these arrows a little bit more. I can increase the size. And once this happens, where the two gets too close to each other, I can drag them with this spacing further apart. And that is a quick crash course. I've shown you the sidebar. I've shown you the elements. I've shown you the section. I've shown you how everything works from the toolbar. And now we're going to look a little bit more in detail as to what that is all about. Right, so let's just have a quick look here. If I jump back there for everyone, lower banner, stop scrolling. Okay, good. Thank you, Will. Let me just go to the banners and hide that. Yes, that's very important. And before we jump then into this, a few things that I want to cover. And the first one of that is going to be about our holiday boosting pack. So before we go any further, remember we have a holiday pages that is going to give you templates for Brizy WordPress and Brizy Cloud. You get 4 Halloween landing pages, so you really just have like 2 days left for that, but you can bling it up very quickly with these ready-made templates. And then there are 2 Black Friday LPs, landing pages ready for you, as well as for those who want to run Christmas promotions. LPs ready, focus on conversion, bringing in the pricing and running nicely with your promotions that are ready. The link will be sent to you. You can also go check out at brizy.io, but the link will be included in the email. And from there, there's instructions as to how you get this. These are not one-click starter templates, but they are for you to import. And the process is very simple. If it's Brizy WordPress, you just upload it right within your saved section as layouts. And if it's Brizy Cloud, it's a one-click installation. One little other piece of news I want to share with you is about white label. There is a new article out on our blog regarding what is white label. I remember at the very beginning when Brizy started, before white label was introduced on Facebook, there was a real back and forth between the community as to yes to white label or no to white label. And as I've never had the purpose for it, I kind of fell into the camp that said no, but I've been converted over the time, realizing how much white label can mean. And if you are a person, especially if you are working with providing websites as an additional service, you can go ahead and check out this blog article that was posted yesterday on the website, and you can just go to Brizy.io resources and blog, and it will be the first article, and understand why white label may work for you and why it may not work for you. And last thing is something big, and that's all I can tell you, is that you do need to check your social media, your email, the Facebook community on Friday. There is something promotion-wise, something really snazzy, big, and exciting happening on Friday. Right. Some people are going to love this. I'm very excited about this one. So make a note in your diary and make sure you are ready for Friday. And it must be Friday. If it's Saturday, you're too late. I'm not sure if I've said too much now, but that's all I can say at this moment. So remember that, put a pin in it until Friday. And when you wake up, start checking your emails and make sure that you are ready for this one. Great. That brings us to the end of all these promotions. Let's go into Brizy and let's go and look at the editor and talk about everything that is editor. Now, once you have installed Brizy and you create your first page, you get to the Brizy Builder. And this is where the WordPress and the cloud environments kind of converge into the builder, because it's essentially the same builder with a few different tweaks as to how you set up things like pop-ups and how you do links. That's based on each of the content management systems. But this is what you are going to get. And I think when I always talk about this, and it happened this week when I was speaking to this client, I will call her on her photography website, her coming from other editors, she was a little bit confused, like, where is the sidebar? Where are all the settings and stuff like that? And explained to her that we often, Demi and I refer to it the Brizy way, is to try and get everything wherever your cursor, wherever your mouse is, the essential stuff there. And when you deep dive a little bit later, we have more and we add more. So what we have here, when you open this new page, is a blank canvas. There's nothing going on here, and that notification there in the middle. Start building your page, says it all. You need to start there. Before we do that though, we do have a sidebar on the left, and over here in Brizy Cloud, you're going to have the content management system at the top, which we are not going to talk about. But below this, for Cloud and WordPress, everything looks the same. The first one is where all the elements, the little stuff that your website is made of, the text, the videos, all of the graphics, they come from here, and you set them up, you arrange them, and you lay them out the way that is going to work for your website. Below this, we have reorder blocks, we have global styling, and then we have something here called collaboration, which we're not going to talk about. Very important though is here at the bottom is our responsive views for tablet, desktop, and mobile. And then you have some features here, view as, not important for this one, and the exit button. In WordPress, it takes you back to the WordPress dashboard, and in Brizy Cloud, it takes you back to the Brizy Cloud dashboard. On the right though, this little bar here will become your good friend. If you learn the shortcut keys, you're almost never going to use it because you need to update, but you can also consider just to save the website as a draft. And then you saw me earlier press this button, clear layout. And that means everything on this page, I just cleared it out and I start with a new fresh page. And what I want to do here, similar to what I did earlier when we were looking at that carousel, I want to build from scratch, and then we can look at the pre-made blocks. I always encourage people to build and learn things from scratch before they dive into templates. And again, I want to underscore that with the anecdote. Again, I was working with this person this week, and the first thing she told me is, let's just go and buy a template. And I looked at their website and I said, you bought a template before. It came with all these plugins. In fact, in WordPress, I found over 20 plugins, and half of them unnecessary. So I said, you don't need all of this, and you don't even know how they work because they come with the template. You don't know the function of the form, and that really restricts you, especially when these things go out of date and they need to be updated. So starting from the beginning is always a good idea, just to get your head around as to what is going on here. So we click on Start because Start is a very good place to start. And this opens a media library, which we will get into soon, but we want to go to this one, create your own, and it gives us this empty block. You can only bring content onto this page within a section, and a section is how websites are structured. You kind of seen that. For those of us who grew up, those who grew up with the internet, not me, they understand how this works. For us, yeah, it's a logical structure. And what you do with this is you have this box here in the middle, which is your canvas area, and you bring elements in here from which you build out your website. So if I'm working on this photography website, which I'm currently going to show you for the hero section, I want to bring in an image, like a nice background image, which we refer to as a hero image and a hero section. And I just want to bring in some text for the name of the photography website and a button that they can click on to view the portfolio of the photographer. But what is important is that we need to bring in structure, and that's why these two elements at the top are so important. By the way, if you don't know how to get here, go to the page and where you see this plus, you click on it, and that panel just opens very friendly, or you can just click here on the plus and the panel will also open. To bring any of these features into it, you click, hold, and drag. So my first one will be text, but no, I mentioned I want to do a layout first. I want to have two columns. So I'll click here on the column and I'll drag it and drop it there. Hovering over it, you can see the two columns. And now I'll bring this text, click, hold, drag, and drop it on the first column. With that there, we are now entering the world of elements. So we start with the section, the block, or you can say we start with the page, then the section, and next is the element. And to make changes to this element, you select it. Now, unlike most other website editors on the market, when you click on this massive side panel will open with all the settings, not in Brizy. 90% of what you are going to do is going to happen in that little box with this little toolbar. And this is what I love about Brizy. I know some other builders have other features which people often look for, and that's why we levitate towards that. But I can honestly tell you, I miss this toolbar. If I'm in any other environment and I cannot just click and work on it. And for this text, for example, the easiest way to edit the text, I don't need to go to a text box in the sidebar. I can just select all. And how I did that is I triple click. You can also hit Control A, Command A, or just select it with your cursor. And I'm going to call this Lenny P Photography. And to get the bar to appear again, I click on it. Where's my bar now? The voices are speaking to me. Let me let me bring in another text element and select and go back to Lenny. Yep, that's how it works when you are doing a webinar. Now that I've selected this, I can make changes to it. I go to the T for typography. I can change the font over here. And from this point, I want to also quickly show you, I love using my own fonts. I click on Add New Font. You can choose new Google fonts, the free ones. If you have Adobe integration, I'm going to upload my own font. I'll give this one a name, and it's called Franny. Is it Franny? No, I'm not so sure, but I'm going to call it Franny for now. And then it gives me the font weight. Now I'm going to use a variable font, which means I can use all the weights there is. I don't need to choose any of this, so I'll leave it on normal. I'll go to TTF file, I'll click on upload, and I have that font. Franny, I was right. Franny VF for variable font. And I'll click on open, it uploads, I click on add font, voila, it's done. And now, oh, couldn't complete the upload as the font name from it, or it already exists in the project. Let me see. I already uploaded it. Let me go to my fonts and see if Franny is here. Yo, this is how it works. Okay, so it already exists in the project, but I couldn't make it happen there. But this is how you bring it in, nice little font there. So what I'll do is I'll go to our Comforta down here. I'll select this font for Comforta and I'll change the size. An error happened. Now this is so typical. I'm going to remove this element. Let me just save here, update. And it's now all because of my poor old Franny who did this. And let's just resize or reload this page. Right, let's do it again. That's the best way to do it. Lenny P Photography. And see if we get lucky this time. Let's go to T for typography and I'll go to Comforta, select, there we go, right, and I'll reduce the line height. And what you have to observe is the fact that I'm not leaving any of this. I'm making the settings to the size. I have weight over here. I can change all of this, and then I can either also add, if I want it in bold, if I want it italic, but bold, I wouldn't recommend using it. You go here to your weight and you set it up there. Then you have your color selector over here. You can change the color, you can change the alignment, and all of this appears like so. Now, this is how the text will work, and anything from a paragraph to a heading, you put it in like this. I bring in a button, and now when I drop the button and I click on the button, you will see that my contextual toolbar looks different. And this again is just the amazing part. We don't want to give you the same settings again and again. How many builders are there on the market with settings that are completely redundant to the element you are working with? It's so frustrating. So it's very nice when you get these clean interface to work with. And here for the button, again, let's align it to the left. Oh, we can change the color a little bit. Let's make it dark. Actually, I want to make it white. And the text, click on text label there, I'll make it black, and then the border, I'll also make it black. And then we have hover function here. I'll do the same. Background, I'll make white. The text, I'll make black, and the border, I'll make black. And I'm choosing these swatches down here. And then from here, for the button, you go to the next one, and this is where you set up your link. If it's going to go to another page within your site, if you want to add a custom URL or external URL, you can link it to another block on your page. You can create a pop-up, even a downloadable file. But so far, this block is not very impressive, so let's work on that. For the block, go to the settings, and that is achieved here in the top right-hand corner. And again, you will see the contextual toolbar changes as you are working with something different. But some of this, like the background, you will find that it looks very familiar. I click on the image, and I bring in the image that I want to use. And I've brought in the image. There we are, and I'll just use this blue dot, which is a focal point, to put it on her face to make sure she's always in the image. And then I want to increase the size of this section. There's a number of ways you can do this. For this, you can go to the top where you see the blue bar, click, hold, and drag, and same here at the bottom to increase it. For more control, which many of us would like, you go to the settings of the block, and there you have the one setting that definitely appears on each and every block and element, and that is the settings block. Click on styling, and for the first time it will open this sidebar, which is when you start diving deeper into things like padding and margins and a few other things like effects as well. If you're going to work a lot with this, you can lock it here with this little button in the top right hand corner so that it stays open. Otherwise, the moment I click outside, it will close up again. So that option is yours. I usually leave this till the very end, then I lock it, and I can also switch it to the left. If I'm working with something here on the right and the sidebar is obscuring it, I can simply switch it like that. And what I want to look here is at the padding. You can see I added padding at the top of 305 and coincidentally the same at the bottom of 305. So pretty good. So far we've done this. The next thing is that I think I want to create a little bit. Did I lock it now? Yeah, I locked it. Let's go here and unlock. Yes. Next thing I want to do is create an overlay. And this is something that's also very standard for many sections, and you can do it also with your columns. And that is done with the overlay option next to your image. And you have the option for a solid overlay. So if I put it on a dark color like this, go to the slider on the right, reduce the opacity, then it looks like this. But I like to do the following. I go for a gradient. So I drop down, select gradient, and now I know this part is on the left and the green is on the right. If you want to rotate it, you will see down here in the bottom there is an angle setting for you. So currently it's at 90%. If you want the green at the bottom, I guess that's 180 degrees. That's right. And then you just go ahead and switch it around like that. I'll go back to 90 because I like the green on the right. So what I will do with the green on the right, I'll also put it on black. So select the dot of the green, put it on black. And then I'll grab this transparency slider and I'll bring it all the way almost to 0. Let's go to the left and I'll increase the transparency here. So you get this nice gradient from left to right. And the reason I'm doing that is when I go back and I click on the typography, I want to put this on white. And now it pops out much better than it did previously. I'll also go change the button. I don't like that. I prefer the button actually to be a white color. And once I do that, you can see all the other stuff like the background and things disappear. So view more. And I actually like the small caps here. And to make it stand out, we are going to give it a subheading as well. And put it on white. And now, instead of me coming up with some smart thing about linear photography, I will go to the AI assistant all the way on the left. So there is some AI functionality currently in the editor. More is coming. And for me, I've used this AI functionality actually a lot. It can help you. You shouldn't rely 100% on the copy that you write coming from here. But this is a great way to, especially if you're doing staging, if you want to show a customer how the website will look, let the AI help you get there a little bit. So say something about my photography in 2 sentences, and that I do weddings, engagements, and newborns, right? Everything with a nice hazy filter on it. And there it goes. I specialize in capturing the most precious moments in life, from weddings to engagements and newborns. And the reason why I do this is because when it comes to your hero section, you really want people to immediately understand what is going on there. Let's go back to T for typography. I will go to Comforta. I'll put it on Comforta. Normal is good for me, but I'll reduce the line height to about 1.6. I think I like it on light. Let's go for light. And the other thing is, you don't always have to make it that legible. It doesn't have to always pop out, right? You are using it sometimes as a design element. If people want to read it, they can read it, but it's very important for those bot crawlers at night to read what's going on your website. And to space it out a little bit more, I'll go again, click on Add Elements. I'll bring in the spacer element and drop it, and I'll just create a little bit of design like this. And in an instant, I've created a really good header section that gives my client that feeling of minimalism that they are looking for, professionalism, and a striking image that also conveys the brand that they are looking for. And that We've done everything. We've looked at the section, how you bring in a section, the section settings up here. We've looked at how you create structure by using things from our grid section with columns or rows, and then how you build out things with elements. And of course, if you want something in the other column, you can also put that there. And from here on, it becomes your play field. It is your Lego system where you build things out and you make it work. My advice, though, is always try to keep it straight and simple. The best websites are the ones that just give it straight, but they look good. And look good usually means good design and good imagery, as well as critical usage of your fonts. I recently saw a website with a few fonts where the person just used too many weights of the same font. And I don't want to go into that, but it was a little bit distracting, but we got there. We also looked at what's happening here on the side in terms of these elements, and just look at the amount of elements. Now, I know this actually doesn't compete with many other builders on the market. There are some of them that run from Mars to Venus in terms of how many elements they have. But what you have here is going to give you exactly what you can create. And if you want to do something a little bit more snazzy, just check out a little bit YouTube. There's a few tips and tricks there as to how you can create double headings. And we have a lot of that as well. We brought in recently the animated headline as well. So great stuff here. It's really going to help you build out your website for yourself or your client in no time. Now, once you have created this, and we'll come back to an entire page soon, you need to save what you're doing. And I'm frantic when it comes to saving. Way back when at university, many years ago, the internet just came out. I was writing an essay, and I studied law of all things. I was writing an essay in public law. We were running at 5 or 7 pages. And the power literally tripped for a flash of a second, not even a full second. It just, and I can never forget that feeling when the power came back, realizing everything I did was gone because I didn't save. And so I'm really, really paranoid when it comes to saving. And actually, anytime I do something, I will save. And you do that here in the bottom right-hand corner by clicking on Update. And if it doesn't say Update, it says Publish, then you just switch to Draft and you go ahead and update. But here comes a power feature which you must learn. You just have to get there if you want to get better at website building, and those are the shortcuts. Go to the bottom left-hand corner and select Shortcuts. And this is going to give you this menu of the shortcuts that are within Brizy and the editor that's going to speed up your workflow. Some of them, I have to admit, I hardly use, but others I use all the time. And my number one shortcut is probably Control-Command-S for saving. And my number two shortcut, or that's probably my number one, is Control-Command-Z to undo. And you can see these two are over there, very important. But you can become a keyboard warrior in this domain. There are so many others here that can really speed up your workflow and just make it a breeze to work with Brizy. There is a shortcut I want to point out to you all the way to the left here. Control minus or plus. Minus or plus on your keyboard. And those are the minus and plus here at the top, not on your number keypad. And that brings us to the next important thing about the Brizy editor, and it's the super functionality of responsive design. Go to the sidebar on the left here, and the bottom click on the desktop view, and you will see we have desktop, select tablet, and then next select mobile. And you can see our canvas changes based on which one I'm selecting. And this is where I use the shortcuts a lot, because if you go to your keyboard and you press Control minus at the top, it gives you tablet, and you do Control minus again. Okay, now it gave me the setting. It will give you the mobile version. This, once you are here, is independent from your desktop. So you can see we have this here, but it looks completely different here. And the next thing that happens is the sidebar, because we have the space now, opens, and it will stay open during this case. Why the Lenny P photography looks like this? Because I probably put it on this function here, which is text alignment, which I dislike intensely. We should take it away. We want to click one more time and put it on left. And now when I go to tablet, you will see it's nicely like this. So I have a few options here. And the first option, of course, is to click on the text. And lo and behold, the text bar doesn't look anything like it did when it was on desktop. And what happens in the editor is once you go to responsive view, those things that you cannot change, that is inherent to all of the responsive designs, are removed. And only the things that you can change remains. Again, a blessing in disguise. An editor I was working with the other day have this small little mobile icon next to each thing, and my eyesight is going backwards. I'm not always sure, is it a tooltip that I see there, or is it a mobile? And sometimes I click on it and then it isn't even a responsive design. You have to hunt around for those responsive designs. This is great. You don't have to do any hunting. But anyway, everyone is catching up. So if I click on typography, I can change the size if I want to do it like so. And let's make this for tablet. I change it a little bit, make it so. Change it a little bit over there. And now I'm going to also change the size of these columns. And you do that by going to the middle of the column and just dragging. And as I drag this column, you will see the percentage at the top. I'll put it around 60%. And if I don't get it to 60, I go to the settings of the column. Here's my toolbar again. Click on settings and type in there width of 60%. Now this column jumped to the bottom, and all I need to do is drag it in until it gets to 40% or lower, and it will nicely go there. And now I've created this design for my tablet that's independent of my desktop. No changes on my desktop, and my tablet still retains those settings. And the same goes for mobile. In mobile, it will automatically stack all your columns and your elements. So they will be on top of each other like this, which is preferable for mobile. You don't really want to go like this. Yeah, it could work, maybe. You see, I dragged that. It could work. And I'm starting to lean to, yeah, it looks actually okay. So this is where you have to start working with how it's going to look. So we do want her face still in the image. And I'll drag the column there, and then I'll drag this column in. And then again, click on T for typography, and I'll reduce the size. But this time I'm going to keep it on 2 lines, because if I have to get all of this into 1 line, it's just going to be too small. And then I'll add a little bit space at the top, and I'll add more space at the bottom, and I'll do this. Okay, so this is what I want to achieve here. And the other thing, a little bit more borders. I can go to the settings of the section, click on settings and the width. I like to do this with mobile devices. I put the width on 90% just to make sure I have a nice margin. That's my personal trademark. No such a thing. It's just a preference. And there we have looked at the editor. We barely touched the surface, and we've actually done quite a lot. We've also looked at so many other things that are going on here. I just quickly want to jump back into the group, and I see there's a lot of discussions going on here. And one of the things is that if you have questions, please put it here. We're probably not going to get around tonight to everything, but what at least I will try and do is to give you some, the demo course. I think it's something to do with the internet gods keeping us humble whenever we do something like this online. I used to think it was only me, but I've seen it all over. You know, if you go live, you are really putting yourself out there. Again, I see some requests here. If you have a request, also send it to support. I know it's a support line, but they work with the development team. And if enough people come up, and always what I recommend people is when they want a feature is to justify how you want to use it. Often when I work with the development team, I will tell them, hey, I want this. And then they'll come back and tell me, but we already have this. I'm like, huh? No, what I mean, it's good to show an example, your use case, what you're going to do with it. It really helps them also to understand, you know, where it's going to function and where it's going to fit in. So yes, by all means, go ahead and also send that out there. Responsive design work is so nice with Brizy. I agree, Will. again, one thing that I'm often confused about any product on the market is why people don't learn from each other. I know people want to be unique and my product is special, but I always say go copy. We have how many different brands of cars on the road, and they all actually do exactly the same, yet people have preferences. So don't deny people things. And I've seen this, how we're also copying in the world of website builders. And it's good if someone comes up with a great feature. And there's some great features that we're going to also release, maybe still this year, that are already included in other builders, which is going to make your navigation on your page very easy. That's all I can tell you. One of those things, yeah. Yes, Oscar, amazing. Love it too. Yes, there is a replay. I was asked earlier to take that off. So for those of you who joined later, we will definitely have a replay on this. I think often when I look at people here, we often cover always the basic stuff in the webinars, and maybe we should look at really specific cases on something, maybe unique designs with really intricate stuff, and maybe a few additional stuff, and put up webinars for that. Then we can look into that as well. Good. Let's jump back into, because now that I have looked at the basics of the editor, I want to talk about the things that are going to speed up your workflow and make you superpower. Now, again, I'm going to delete this. And one of the things any good designer is capable of is deleting everything they did in the last hour and not shed a tear for you. So I click here at the bottom and click on clear layout, and the hard work is gone. Actually, the big challenge in life is creating that thing again and doing exactly the same. Once you get there, you're pretty good. However, we are back here. What makes it easy, if I click here on Start Building, is that you don't need to think everything from scratch. There are all these pre-made templates that you can use. I do miss kit number 1. And there are also layouts. So the kits here are sections. They are blocks, and you see the categories over here. And you can start like with a hero at the top. I'll select your hero. And then let's say this dude over here, or this one over here. I like her, and I click on it, and it's going to, boom, drop onto my page. And of course, once you are here, all you need to do, and that's what we showed in the editor, you click on stuff and you switch it all out. You switch the images. This is a slider even. Yeah, there's more features there. And then you go to add a new block. After this, I like to bring in either a call to action or features, which is usually services. So I go to features and I look for something. If my client, like this photographer, has like 6 services that they specialize in headshots, over here, why choose us? And this is just my way of making sure anyone that comes to my homepage, my landing page, immediately understand what they're going to get. I can put here, I do baby, like newborns, I do kids photography, I do group photography, couples photography, and all the good photography where everybody's laughing and holding hands and eating cake. And then build it out. And apart from only using this, you have a category over here under styles for dark. So if you want to contrast that, you can do that. So after we have that, we can have an about us section. Is there about here? It's probably also under features, gallery, text, team. I go for text and select this one. And this is what I did for the photographer. I put her photo here and I said more about Lenny and explained that. And naturally after this, you go for something like a team, if you have a team. Testimonial, yes, one of the things I dislike, but I still use it because if testimonials are done properly, they actually do give social proof value to your site. There's a few tricks in that, like making sure the photo doesn't look like AI or stock photo, making sure it's actually a real client with a name that will be good for the local business and representative of the area where you are, and people can maybe even identify who the person is, specifically if it's a very localized website. And this is how you build it out. How you make everything faster now is that I've set up here all of this. I've created this standard thing. I've changed out the text. But now I don't really like the font. I would like to use a different font. In the old days, we had to go to each element and change the font. So currently it's set to overpass. If I go to this one, it's also overpass. And why do all of these fonts come in with overpass? And that is because the style design for this page is called overpass by default. The first time you load Brizy, it makes a style for you called overpass. And the styling happens here in the sidebar on the left. And I go to the little brush, and you will see it says styling. So the styling name, there is overpass. The colors, and these are the colors that you've seen previously. When I clicked on something and there's a color option, these are the swatches that appear. And below that is global typography. So let's talk about the current style. This is the name. If I go to overpass, there's a few other as well, like magazine. And look at how my entire page changes in terms of fonts and colors. And you can also see the colors and the fonts update below it. Crazy one, Oblivion, I'm pretty sure. When I'm looking for a crazy one, I don't get it. Let's see, Droid, also not bad. So Ashen is maybe, Ashen is not crazy about this font. But again, here it works. So there we go. Not something you want to do, but let's go back to the original overpass. And you're going now to customize it. And that's why things are just going to be so beautiful and so quickly. The first thing you're going to do is change your colors. So you have these 8 colors. And when the designers made these blocks, they used these blocks. So if I click on this icon, I click on the color, you can see it selected this color here. Third from the left. Go here, let's click third from the left, and I'm just going to grab the hue slider and let's put it on this pink like that. And everywhere I had that green, the pink has now updated. So if I have my text here and I click on the text, you can see that's going to be the second icon from the right. That is the default color for the text. Again, I'll go to my styling, click on it, and let's make this crazy so you can see the update. Green. Yuck. But look at that. All my text, my paragraph text just changed to that green. Don't like it, so I'll put it back on a gray color. Let's make it a darker gray. And that's how you go ahead and change the colors in one sweep throughout your entire website. And this is where the blocks, the pre-made blocks and the pre-made layouts, which we'll look at very soon, comes in and helps a lot. But the power also comes back to your typography. Now we have all of these. We have paragraph, subtitle, above title, headings. And this is determined by, if I click on this text here, go to T for typography, and you will see we have these settings. And this is set to the preset above title. And everywhere this preset has been applied, I can go to the styling, look for above title over here, and let's change the font to a new one. And let's change it to a total different font. Let's go for Oswald, and immediately it updates all my above title. I can go for the size, increase that. I can change the weight, the line height, and look how all of them change in an instant. And great again from here, simply click here on the tablet. It will now show you the same area in tablet mode, and I can make changes only to tablet for this. I love it. And semi-bold. And the same for when we go to mobile device. I don't need to click there because it's already set. All I need to do is here change the size. And I'm going a little bit spastic here, but you get the idea. And back to desktop. And that is how you instantly make this your website, by changing out the colors. We try and make this, I don't want to say as simple, but as intuitive as possible. And one of the things that we often talk about when I'm speaking to the team and we say, can we do this, can we do that, is to remove as much as possible things that will delay you in the way you are working and helping you to make decisions quicker and speed up your workflow. Especially if you are designing many websites and you are an agency. Last time someone was here, over 150 websites just in one part of their life. We have people are running thousands of websites. And when you get to that level, just knowing what works and how it works really improve your speed flow. And it's awesome. However, there's even another better way to make things much quicker, especially if you have a client who wants a quick turnaround. Let's go to the bottom right, clear everything we've done and click on start building our page one more time, and we go to layouts. And over here, hundreds of ready-made, full complete websites for you to choose from that you can bring in and work with. And these are also included in WordPress as one-click installations and also as cloning options within Brizy Cloud. So you can do it before the time, or you can do it right within the editor. I like to come here and browse a lot. Often I just look for a section, like an about section. So if I look at this one over here, leader, I click on this section and it will give me a little display and load the layout for me. And I like, I like what they did there. And you can navigate up and down. And like that one, I like it. So why do I want to go and do it all again by myself? What is important to remember, if I click on import this layout, what you see here is not what you're going to see on the page, because this layout here has its own style. But my style on my page is still set to overpass. So it's going to look a little bit different, but I like this. Look what the developer did here for me. All my work. All I need to do is change out the text. Now, let's say you saw this page, but you actually do like the style that they have used. So what we do here is clear again this page, or you can hit Control-Command-Z. We go back to that and click on Layouts, and I'll click on Leader again. Where was Leader? Here. And now with Leader open here, before I click on Import this layout, I select this Replace Global Styling, and it's going to retain all of the fonts and colors used in this design. I click on Import this layout. Again, that's so quick, right? Love it. And I have these fonts. Select the font. We can have a look. You can see it's set to a new font, Sora. If you go to the global styling, there are the colors as well as the updated typography. And then look here, current style. At the very top now, you will see that this style has been imported. And you can go ahead now and play with these other styles. But you can go back to the one that you used. And if you want to make a few tweaks here, but you want to keep this style as a backup, what you do before you make the tweaks is go to the three dots, click on duplicate, and then simply go to edit name. And then I'll just say leader, JP V2, and click on plus. And now I can make changes here, but I still have that leader as a backup. So you can see I've just changed a few things and personalized this and brought it on brand. So the global styles, and we are running at the last 10 minutes, and I think I still want to cover a few more things, but let's just have a quick look at what's going on. Does it make sense to still have a website available in different languages? Now anyone can click on a button and get the website in. This is a philosophical question, and I was in a few conversations today about AI, so I want to avoid this one on Dean. But it is a good question, and it actually not only will you get a website in a different language by clicking on a button, they give you a summary of it, right? So these are the other things that you are going to face. So how do you build a multi-page website? Multi-page website. So if you're on WordPress, okay, that you're going to do exactly like how you would do it normally. You would create another page, you will do it with the editor, and there, I think let's quickly look at this to round it off, and we'll definitely have to bring in another webinar for this. We barely touch on the editor. And this is where we talk about one of the biggest differences in terms of Brizy Cloud and Brizy WordPress compared to the other editors on the world. And that's how you work with multi-pages in terms of navigation. Now, I can create multi-pages. In WordPress, you know how to do it. In Cloud, I simply go up here to these little three hamburger menu, and I create another page. And I'll say I'll add a new page, and I'll call it an about page. About, and I'll say save. And once this page is saved, I'll also put it up here on publish. Let me just move this little banner here at the bottom. I'll click on edit. Oh, wait, my changes I haven't saved. Okay, yeah, because I changed the publishing thing. Update. It was updated when I added on publish. There is that little wizard of the internet keeping me humble again. Let me just refresh this one quickly, reload. Okay, let's go to our pages. And I think the page should be there. I created it. I'll click on the about. It has been published. And I'll select this option called edit. It's going to give me an empty page, but I'll bring in a block very, very quickly. So a few blocks. I'm just going to click on 1 or 2 so we can create a new page and talk about the features of global blocks, which is amazing. So global blocks, also nothing new in the world of the internet, but a few years ago it was pretty revolutionary. I have this block here and I want to save it. The easiest way to do that is go to the settings of the block and click on save. And once I've clicked on save, when I bring in new blocks in the future, I go to the save section and look, Louis, all the blocks that I've saved are here. Now, because I'm in Brizy Cloud, everything that I've saved in Brizy Cloud appears here and it's in my workspace. If it's a different workspace, but in WordPress, it will only be those blocks that you saved in WordPress. And this one should be here at the very bottom. Where is it? Over there. Okay, actually at the very top. I click on it and it's going to load another instance of it. A very simple way of doing it. But what I can also do is I can make it a global block. So I click on this one and I'll go to this slider on the left and I select on make it global. Now this block becomes synced to wherever I use another copy of this block. And it asks me, where do I want to display it? Currently, I only display it on the About pages. And I have this option to set this condition already here. I want to display this on all my pages. So I select all and I click on Save. Now remember, I did not add this block to my home page. I only added it here. But now if I go to my pages and I select my home page, click on Edit. Did I not save it? I did not save it. Let me quickly save that first. And you know, I told you I'm fanatic about saving, and there I just prove I did not save it. So we go to Home, and let's click on this and Edit. And it's going to drop this page. There it is. You see, there it is on my home page. And not only now, I make any changes here. I change the background color for this one and I update it and I go back to the other one. It's going to be the same. But where this gets powerful, that I don't need to go and create headers or footers in a separate instance. I create it all on my page. And this is where a lot of people sometimes struggle coming to Brizy. They want to go to a dedicated section in the theme, you know, the theme builder where you build your headers and you build your footers. This is all done here. And we have an amazing header block. So we go again to blocks. And now you go here on the left and you select header. And there's a few pre-made ones. Find the one that works for you. But this is how you create headers. I'll go with this standard one. And it's going to drop it and it will ask me to create the menu, and I'll show you quickly how to do that, but I want to move it to the top. Now this little icon here for reorder blocks comes into play. Go to the left, drag it to the top, and what I can do is create a menu. Once I click on it, it's going to allow me to create a menu. In WordPress, you know how to create a menu. You go to the WordPress theme area and you create your menu over there. Here it opens these preferences. I'm going to first create a new menu. I'll call it my main menu. And I click on the plus. And once I have selected the main menu, I'll add my 2 pages, About and Home, add to menu. And boom, they are there. I'll save. And now that I've created this menu, let me just make sure I save. I close it, but it's not there. And the reason it's not there is you need to refresh this page and tell it says missing menu. So we quickly do a refresh on this page. Again, save. Thank you for the warning, Brizy. And then I'm going to squeeze the last part in the last few minutes before we need to go. And I'll do a refresh here. And it should actually bring in it says select a menu from the menu. We go to the settings and over here I select main menu and there it appears. And one of the great features we've also brought in is that if I click on home now, you see this little icon here. I don't even have to go anymore to the settings of the CMS and look for the page. I just simply go here and I'll update first. I'll go to the home, click on the home link, click on this icon here, and it's going to load the home page for me. And you will see, oh, I am on home. Let's go to About, and I'll click on About. And this one I haven't made it global. That's very important. So let's just, and that was what I was supposed to show. Let's go back to home. And because it is a header block, it's a specific block, Brizy knows this must go at the very top. So it's going to behave a little bit different. I'll go to the block settings all the way to the left. I make it global, and you see I have an option there. You can have a sticky header. You can add sticky header. Where do I want to display? Again, I put it on all my pages. I've saved it. And you see sticky header as I scroll down, there's a sticky header, which is independent from the main header. So if you want to create a different menu, a different setup for that, hey, it's your playground. I'll update. And now what we expect to see when I select about and I click on the edit, I'm on about. Yes, I am. No, I'm going to about, is that we're going to see the header appears there at the top. You don't have to go into any separate section to work on the headers, and the footers work the same. This is just marvelous. And you can create different kinds of global blocks. Again, go to your add blocks and you will see global blocks appear here on the right. And these two that I've created, they appear over here. And those conditions that you saw me play around with, display conditions, you can determine where you want it to appear. You can add more, and you can exclude certain pages from that if you don't want it to appear there. There are other features that can really help you in terms of elements, jazzing up your site, making it interactive like video. You have all the video elements here for custom video links and for YouTube, Vimeo, and then all the links I showed you earlier. A quick look at the links. Pop-ups is a few webinars by itself. Very powerful tool in Brizy. One of the best pop-up builders on the market right here in Brizy. You don't have to go again outside of the builder. It happens all here. Whoa, a mouthful, and I feel I have barely scratched the surface. I would have liked to do a lot more. You can add more pages later. Richard, thanks for all the help, and the other guys that are helping out here. It's great to see the veterans here, names that we have been coming along for more than 5-8 years plus, right? I cannot believe it's been that long. This year, icons with tooltip names. That's an interesting one to run. Yeah, I think that's an interesting one. Makes designing sections based on icons. This is one that we understand. It makes time-consuming effort for us if we are designing sections based on icons. Good one. Like it. Yeah. Thanks. Absolutely. Right. So as we are coming to the end here for our webinar, I really appreciate those of you who set aside your hour for today. And I would say there's 2 or 3 more webinars coming. I believe Dimi is going to be around for a very big webinar as well. We'll do a recap, or rather an overview of all the great new features that have been released in the last couple of weeks and months. Sometimes they sneak out there. Really, I really want to tell you they sneak out there, like the custom icon for the arrows and the dot navigation. I didn't even know it was there. I was playing around with it. And awesome. And we're going to cover all of that because a lot of great features came out this year. And some of them are often a little bit obscure and hidden, and you may miss the opportunity in incorporating them into your website. A number, and there are a few more things still waiting for 2025 to happen. But the most important thing, I think that is important here, is that you need to keep your calendar for Friday, and you need to go and check Brizy, what is happening for Friday. What I'm going to do tomorrow with our marketing team, Veronica will give me help with this, is when we send out a recap for you and the email of this, I'll make sure all the links that I've mentioned are included. I'm going to go through the questions as well, and those that we can still answer and send on to the development team, we will do that as well. Yes, it's going to be uploaded on YouTube. Nicholas, definitely. You don't have to worry, and you will also get a link to rewatch it. Yeah. I am a legend, Sovran. Thank you. Yes, I sometimes, one thing I love about this platform is the kind of friendships we build up with people we've never met. And, there's always this love-hate relationship with the internet, but this community that you can get, and especially how we grow and things that frustrated us, features and how it's rolled out. And it's been very close, and I really appreciate that as well. So thank you very much for that, guys. From my side, then, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday for all the people that are just waking up and starting their day. For you in the Northern Hemisphere, have a great cooler sessions coming up. And then for the rest of you that are already entering Thursday, hope you have a great day. So anyway, let's have a good one. I'll see you again. And remember to visit us at brizy.io.